We continue now at the top of Daf Tzadi Tesamad Aleph and Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 99a. On the previous summer of Simloi Darshan de Pasuk in Amos, the Pasuk in Amos says, "Woe is to those who wait for the Yom Hashem, for the day of Hashem, because it's darkness and not light." What is the meaning of that Pasuk? And Reb Simloi says it's a mashal to a rooster and a bat. The rooster and the bat are both waiting for the daytime. They're waiting for the light, and the rooster says to the bat, "I understand why I'm waiting for the light, because I'm active during the day, but you're not active during the day. What are you waiting for?" And the Gemara continues along these lines. V'hainu do'amar le'ahumina l'Rebbi Avo. That's what a particular heretic said to Rabbi Avo. Eimosai osi Mashiach. When is Mashiach going to come? Amar le. So he said back to him, L'chafi lehu chashocha lahanu inshi. When those people, when they're encompassed by darkness, meaning to say the day of Mashiach is going to be light for the righteous, but for those who are not righteous, it's going to be like darkness. Amar le said back to him, Meilot kalaitis li. Are you cursing me? Are you saying that I'm going to be among those in the darkness? Amar le, he said back to him, no, Kruksiv, I'm just quoting a pasuk. The pasuk in Yeshayahu says, Kine hachoshech yechasa eretz, the darkness is going to cover the land. Va'arofil le'umim, there's going to be darkness for the nations. V'olayich yizrach Hashem, but upon you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will shine the light. Uchvodo alayich yerah, there's going to be His honor is going to be upon you. And the Gemara continues, Tanya, we learned in a Brayso, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Rabbi Eliezer says, Yemos HaMashiach Arboim Shana, the days of Mashiach are going to be a total of 40 years. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk in Tehillim, Arboim Shana Akut Bedor, it's going to be 40 years. Rashi explains, Akut Bedor means Ekach Yisrael, Ve'emloch Aleim, I'm going to take Klal Yisrael, I'm going to be king over them, Kimonakte, meaning to say like choosing. Arboim Shana Akut Bedor, Bedor Katan Shal Arboim Shana, Shu Meshuna Midora Shalafanav, it's going to be a small generation of 40 years that's different than the generations before it. Umistama hainu Mashiach, and it makes sense to say that's Mashiach. Sheshinuyin gedolim ye bedoro, yiyu bedoro. There's going to be changes during his generation. Rashi notes, Upashte de Kramia. Now the simple explanation of the pasuk is Gabe Meisei Midbar, that it's talking about those who died in the wilderness. Avol midachsiv akut. When it says the word akut, which sounds like future tense, mashma af lahaboha yemisnabe. It sounds like he's prophesizing even towards the future. And the Brayso continues. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Omer, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, Shivim Shana, the Mashiach, the Amos HaMashiach, is going to be 70 years. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk in Yeshayahu, V'haya bayom hahu, will be on that day. Minishkachas tzur Shivim Shana, tzur will be forgotten 70 years. Ki mei melech echad, like the days of one king. And we understand the pasuk to mean Ezo melech miyuchad, who is that unique king? Havi Omer is a Mashiach, that's referring to Mashiach. And the Brayso continues, Rebbe Omer, Rebbe says, Shlosha Doros, the times of Mashiach is going to be 3 generations. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Yirauchim Shemesh, they fear you with the sun. V'lefnei Yareach, before the moon. Dor Dorim, generation and generations. That is a pasuk in Tehillim. And Rashi explains, Rebbe Omer, Rebbe says, Gimel Doros, Shenemar, Yirauchim Shemesh, Kilomar, Bahade Mashiach, meaning with Mashiach, Shekasabo, which it's written about Mashiach, Lefnei Shemesh, Yinun Shemo, mentions the Shemesh, the sun, Yiraucha Yisrael, Klal Yisrael will fear you. V'lefnei Yareach, and before the moon, Lefnei Malchus Beis David, before the Malchus Beis David, Shenimshal ki Yareach, which is compared to the moon, Kedechsev, as it's written in the pasuk, Yareach Yikon Olam, Kimochein, similarly, Yiraucha Dor Dorim, they'll fear you, generation and generations, and the idea is Dor Echad, the word Dor, which is singular, means 1 generation, Dorim, which is plural, that is Beis, that is 2 generations, that's a total, Harei Gimel, that's a total of 3 generations. And the Brayso continues, Rabbi Hillel Omer, Rabbi Hillel says, and this was mentioned earlier, Ein lohem Mashiach li Yisrael, there will not be Mashiach for Klal Yisrael. Shekvara chalu b'mei Chizkiah, they already ate from Mashiach, they already ate from that bounty during the days of Chizkiah. And Rashi explains, Ein lohem Mashiach li Yisrael, ela HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimloch bi'atzmo. Rashi says it means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be the king, v'yegolim levado, and he alone will redeem them. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yosef says, Sharalei Mori Rabbi Hillel, the master, meaning HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he should forgive Rabbi Hillel for saying this, that Ein Lahem Mashiach li Yisrael, because Chizkiah Mashavet, because when was Chizkiah? That was B'bayis Rishon. Chizkiah took place in the Bayis Rishon in the times of the first Beis HaMikdash, V'ilu Zechariah, whereas at Zechariah, Kamisnave B'bayis Sheni, he was prophesying about the coming of the Mashiach, that was already during the second Beis HaMikdash, that was after Chizkiah. V'yamar, and he says as follows in the pasuk in Zechariah, Zachariah, Gili Miod Bas Sion, rejoice, Bas Sion, Hari, Bas Yerushalayim, shout out, daughter of Yerushalayim, Hine Malkech Yavo, your king is coming, Loch Tzadik V'nosha Hu Ani V'rochev Al Chamor, he's an Ani, V'rochev Al Chamor, he's poor, he rides on the donkey, V'al Ayor Ben Asonos, and again riding upon a colt. And the Gemara continues, Tanya Idach, we learned in another brayser, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Rabbi Eliezer says, Yemos HaMashiach, the days of Mashiach, are Boim Shana, that will be for 40 years. And how do we know that? Because Ksiv Hach, it's written over here in the Pasuk and Sefer Devarim, Vaya'ancha Vayarivecha Vayachilcha, that's talking about the 40 years in the wilderness, and it uses the word Vaya'ancha, there was affliction, Uchsiv Hasam, and it's written over there in the Pasuk in Tehillim, Samchenu Kimos Inisanu, Shnos Ra'inu Ra, it says that we're going to rejoice like the amount of time that was Inisanu, like the amount of time that was Vaya'ancha, 40 years in the Midbar, it's going to be 40 years, the times of Mashiach. And the Brisa continues, Rabbi Dosa Omer, Rabbi Dosa says, Daled Meos Shana, it's actually going to be 400 years, because Ksiv Hacha, because it's written over here, Va'avodim V'inu Osam Arba Meos Shana, when they were slaves in Mitzrayim, it says, V'inu Osam Arba Meos Shana, they'll be afflicted for 400 years. Ksiv Hasam, and again, it's written over there in the pasuk we just quoted above, Samchenu Kimos Inisanu, again using the word Inisanu, so we understand the same 400 years of Va'avodim V'inu Osam, that's going to be the amount of time of Mashiach. And the Brisa continues, Rebbe Yomer, Rebbe says, Gimel Meos V'shishim V'chame Shana, the times of Mashiach will be 365 years, Keminyan Yimos Achama, according to the amount of the days of the solar calendar. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk in Yeshayahu, Ki Yom Nokam Belibi, because the day of vengeance is in my heart, Ushnas Ge'ulai Ba, and the year of my redemption is going to come. Rashi explains, Rebbe Yomer Shin Samechei, Keminyan Yimos Achama, Dechsiv, Ki Yom Nokam Belibi Ushnas Ge'ulai Ba, Li Yom Nokam Shal Meraglim Arboim Yom, means to say the Yom Nakam Shel Meraglim, the day of vengeance of the spies, which was 40 days. My Yom Nakam Shel Meraglim, what was the vengeance for the 40 days of the Meraglim? Shana Achas B'chol Yom, it was 1 year in the Midbar for every single day. That's why they were in the Midbar for 40 years. Kedichsiv, as it's written, Yom Lashana, a day to a year, a day to a year. Kach Shnas Geula, so too, by the year of the redemption, Ba Shana L'Yom, it's going to be a year per day, a year per day. Shalachol Yom V'Yom Shel Shana Zu, Haksuva, Shnas Geulai, for every single day in this year, which is mentioned in the Pasuk, Shnas Geulai, the year of my redemption, but Mikra in this Pasuk, Nosnim Shana Echos, that's going to be a full year, and therefore it's 365 years. And Rashi notes, V'istagarsi, some of the text, Rebbe Yomer Shin Samechei Alpayim Shana, that it actually is 365,000 years. Techsiv Shnas Geulai, Bo, it says the Shnas Geulai, the year of my redemption, V'shana Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hachihav, and a year of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is actually 1,000 years. Techsiv Kiel of Shan Beinecha Kiyom, that's what it says in the Pasuk in Tehillim. And the Gemara continues, Ma Yom Nokam Belibi, what does it mean when the Pasuk says the day of vengeance is in my heart? Amar Rav Yochanan says, Lelibi Gilisi, what it means is that I revealed it to my heart, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but Le'evare, to my limbs, Lo Gilisi, I did not reveal it. Rav Shimon ben Lakish, Amar Rav Shimon ben Lakish says, Lelibi Gilisi, what it means is that I revealed it to my heart, but Lemalache Hashares Lo Gilisi, but I did not reveal it to the angels. And Rashi explains, Le'evare Lo Gilisi, I didn't reveal it to my limbs. It means Shalohot Seisi Dover Mipi, it means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, I didn't mention something with my mouth, so to speak, Shahayu Evara Yecholin L'Shmoa, that my limbs would be able to hear, Avol Belibi Hayataman Hadavar, but in my heart, that's where the matter is concealed in terms of when the redemption will come. And the Gemara continues, Tani Avimai Bered Rabbi Avo, Avimai the son of Rabbi Avo taught, Yemos HaMashiach li Yisrael, the Yemos HaMashiach for Klal Yisrael, Shivas Alpayim Shana, is going to be 7,000 years. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, there's a Pasuk in Yeshayahu, Mesos Chasan Al Kalo, Yasas Alayach Elokayach, the idea is that there's 7 days of celebration of a marriage, and each day again to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is 1,000 years, so that's 7,000 years. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yehuda Mar Shmuel, Rav Yehuda says that Shmuel says, Yemos HaMashiach Kimiyom Shenivra Ha'olam the days of Mashiach is going to be the amount of time from the day the world was created until now, meaning until Mashiach actually comes. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Kimei HaShamayim Ala Oretz, like the days of the heavens on the earth, and meaning like all of the days that existed until the times of Mashiach, that's how long of a time Mashiach is going to be. And the Gemara continues, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, Kimei Noach Ad Achshav, it doesn't go from the time of creation, but it goes from the time of Noach until now, until whenever Mashiach comes. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Kimei Noach Zosli, because the waters of Noach, this is to me, Asher Nishbati, that I swore. And the idea over here is that Kimei is being darshan as Kimei, like Kimei HaShamayim, like the days of Shamayim. So here it's Kimei Noach, from the days of Noach until now. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Chia bar Abba says that Rabbi Yochanan says, Kol hanaviyim kulan lo nisnabu ela li'mos HaMashiach. All of the prophecies, when they have these prophecies about the great future times of redemption, that's all talking about the Emos HaMashiach. Aval li'olam haba, but in terms of whatever olam haba is, ayin lo raso elokim zuloscha, yasa lemechak elo, nobody has seen it, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu has seen it, and it's done for those who await him. And the Gemara continues, Upliga de Shmuel, this argues on Shmuel, Diyamar Shmuel, because Shmuel says, Ein bein ha'olam hazel li'mos HaMashiach, there is no difference between this world and the days of Mashiach, Elashiv and Malchios Belvad, except that now we serve foreign governments, and that's not going to be true in the times of Mashiach. And the Gemara continues, V'yamar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Chia bar Abba says that Rabbi Yochanan says, Kol hanaviyim lo nisnabu ela lebali teshuva. When all of the prophets, when they prophesize about great times in the future, that's for the bali teshuva, that's for those who repent, who do teshuva. Avot tzadikim gemurim, but for the people who are totally righteous, ayin lo raso lakim zuloscha, no eye has seen it, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu understands that level of reward. And the Gemara continues, Upliga de Rabbi Avo. Now this argues with Rabbi Avo, because according to what we just said, the tzadikim gemurim are on a higher level than the Bali Teshuva. But Rabbi Avo says the opposite. The Yamar Rabbi Avo, because Rabbi Avo says, Malkum Shabali Teshuva omd, in the place where Bali Teshuva stand, Sham tzadikim einan omdim sham, the place where the Bali Teshuva stand there, the tzadikim do not stand there. They're not at the level of the Bali Teshuva. And where do we know that from? We know that from the following pasuk, Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, and this is a pasuk in Yeshayo, Shalom Shalom la rachok v'la karov. It has the word rachok before karov, and the understanding of the pasuk is rachok refers to those who were distant, who were balei teshuva, as the Gemara now explains. Bereisha rachok v'hader karov. First we list the rachok, and then we list the karov. And my rachok, what does rachok mean? Rachok demei karov, it means originally they were distant, they did teshuva. Umay karov, and what's a karov? Karov demei karov dehasha, that means they were close all along in the beginning and now, and so therefore the pasuk is indicating that the balei teshuva are on the higher level according to Rabbi Avo. How does Rabbi Yochanan respond? How does he understand the pasuk? For Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan says, "La rachok shehu rachok me'avera." Rachok means that he's distant from avera. That's actually talking about the tzadikim gemurim. And karov, what's karov? Shu karov me'avera v'nisrachik mimena. That means he was close to avera and he distanced himself from the avera. He did teshuva, so he interprets the pasuk exactly the opposite. That rachok is the tzadik gomer that is ahead of the karov, the baal teshuva. And the Gemara continues, V'yamar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Chia bar Abba says that Rabbi Yochanan says, Kol hanaviyim kulan lo nisnabu ela lamasi bito l'talmid chacham. All of the prophets, they prophesize regarding somebody who marries his daughter off to a talmid chacham, v'ula osa pragmatya l'talmid chacham, and someone who does business for a talmid chacham, v'lamahana talmid chacham in a chasav, and somebody who allows a talmid chacham to benefit from his property. Avol talmidei chachamim atzman, but when it comes to talmidei chachamim themselves, ayin lo rasa lakim zulascha, no eye has seen the reward. That's how great the reward is. And the Gemara says, "My ayin lo rasa." What does it mean that no eye has seen it? What kind of reward are we talking about? Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, "It's a yayin hameshumar ba'anovav." It refers to wine that's kept in its grapes, misheishes yimei bereishis, from the time of the 6 days of creation. Reish Lakish Amar Reish Lakish says, "Ze Eden." When we talk about that reward that no one has seen, it's talking about Eden. Lo rasa ayin me'olam, that no one has seen it, no person has seen it. V'yim tomar adam hechandar. Now, if you're going to say, what do you mean? Adam Harishon, where did he live? Wasn't he in Eden? Didn't he see Eden? The Gemara says, no, Bagan, he was in the garden. V'yim tomar gan hu Eden. Now, if you're going to say the garden is Eden, that's not true, because Talmud Lomer, the pasuk says, V'nor yotzei me Eden. It says a river went out of Eden, lahashkos es hagan, in order to water the garden. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, V'omer ein Torah min hashamayim. Somebody who says the Torah is not from heaven, that person does not have a share in the world to come. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. The pasuk says in Sefer Bamidbar, Ki dvar Hashem baza, he despises the word of Hashem, umitzvaso hefer, and breaches his mitzvah, he kares tikares, that person will surely be cut off. What is this pasuk referring to? Zeh ha'omer, this is somebody who says, Ein Torah min hashamayim, that the Torah is not from heaven. Davar acher, another explanation, Ki dvar Hashem baza, what does it mean that he despises the word of Hashem? Zeh apikoros, that refers to an apikoros. The Gemara will discuss an apikoros later on. Davar acher, another explanation, Ki dvar Hashem baza, what does it mean that he despises the word of Hashem? Zeh ha'megal panim b'Torah, this is somebody who interprets the Torah in an inappropriate fashion. Ves mitzvaso hefer, and what does it mean that he breaches his mitzvah? Zeh V'hamefer bris basar, this refers to somebody who breaches the commandment with regards to bris milah. He doesn't have bris milah. Hikares tikares, he'll surely be cut off. What does that mean? Hikares bo'olam hazeh, tikares lo'olam haba. It means he'll be cut off in this world, and he will be cut off in the world to come. Mikan amar Rebbe Elazar HaModai, from here Rebbe Elazar HaModai says, Hamechalas HaKodshim, one who desecrates the holy, he desecrates Kodshim, V'hamevaze es HaMoados, and if he treats the Moados with contempt, Rashi says it's referring to Chol HaMoed, others say it's referring to Yontiv itself. V'hamefer briso shel Avram Avinu, somebody, again, who doesn't get bris milah. V'hamegal upanim b'Torah, somebody who interprets the Torah in an inappropriate fashion, shelo k'halacha, not in accordance with the halacha. V'hamal ben pnei chaveru b'rabim, and somebody who embarrasses his friend publicly. Afal pi sheyesh biyadu, even though this person has in his hands Torah ma'asim tovim, he has Torah and good deeds. Ein lo chelek liolam haba. Such a person does not have a portion in the world to come. And the Gemara continues, Tanya Idach, we learned in another brayso, Kidvar Hashem Baza, he despises the word of Hashem. Zeha Omer in Torah min Hashamayim, this is a person who says the Torah is not from heaven. Ve'afilu Omer kol Torah kula min Hashamayim, even if a person says the entire Torah is from heaven, chutz mi pasuk zeh, except for this particular pasuk, Shelo Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu ela Moshe mi pi atzmo, this pasuk HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't say, Moshe is the one that said it, Zehu Kidvar Hashem Baza, that's considered despising the word of Hashem. And the brayso continues, Ve'afilu Omer kol Torah kula min Hashamayim, chutz mi dikduk zeh, even if the person says the entire Torah is min hashamayim except for this inference, mikal v'chomer zeh, except for this kal v'chomer, mikzeh rishava zu, except for this gzeh rishava, zehu kidvar Hashem baza, that's an example of despising the word of Hashem. And the Gemara continues, Tanya, we learned in a brayso, Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi Meir would say, Halome Torah ve'ena malamda, somebody who learns Torah but doesn't teach it, Zehu Dvar Hashem Baza, this is somebody who despises the word of Hashem. Rabbi Nosson Omer, Rabbi Nosson says, Kol mi she'eino mashgiach ala Mishnah, anybody who doesn't pay attention to Mishnah, that's somebody who's Dvar Hashem Baza, who despises the word of Hashem. Rabbi Nehorai Omer, Rabbi Nehorai says, Kol she'efshar la'asok b'Torah ve'eno osek, anybody who is able to learn Torah but doesn't learn Torah, that's Dvar Hashem Baza. Rabbi Yishmael Omer, Rabbi Yishmael says, Zeha oved avodas kochavim. This refers to somebody who worships avodah zara. My mashmo. From where do we see the pasuk? From where do we see in the pasuk of Dvar Hashem Baza? Kidvar Hashem Baza, that it's a reference to worshiping avodah zara. To Tana Devei Rabbi Yishmael, because it was taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yishmael. Kidvar Hashem Baza. It says again the word of Hashem he despised. Zeha mevaze dibur. It's somebody who despises that dibur of the Aseres HaDibros. Shenemar lo lemoshe misina, which was said at Har Sinai, Anochi Hashem Elokecha lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim. That those were the parts of the Aseres HaDibros that were said directly by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's Devar Hashem Baza. And the brayso continues, Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, Omer Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha says, Kol halome Torah ve'eno chozer aleh, anybody who learns Torah but doesn't review it, Dome la'adam shezoreah ve'eno kotzer, that's like somebody who plants but does not harvest. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Rabbi Yeshua says, Kol halome Torah meshacha, anybody who learns Torah and forgets it, Dome le'isha sheyoledes ve'koveres, that's similar to a woman who gives birth but then buries the child. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Rabbi Akiva says, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Tzadi Tes Amud Beis.